Good morning,
Good morning.
good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the CSW70 Forum orientation session. We're really thrilled to see so many of you here with us today. Each of you are a part of the global civil society engine that powers progress for women and girls everywhere. Today's session is designed to help you navigate and make the most of the upcoming NGO CSW Forum, which takes place, as you know, in parallel with the 70th session of the UN Commission on the Status of Women. This forum is your space, civil society space, to raise voices, exchange ideas, build coalitions, and really learn about what to expect with CSW 70 Forum. Today, we're going to walk you through how the forum connects to CSW 70, what to expect during the 2 weeks, and how you can organize, collaborate, and amplify your impact. We invite you to use this space to learn, to ask questions, and to begin connecting the dots so that you can move from this point in November to March with ease. Thank you for being here, for your commitment, and for your courage to keep pushing forward with an urgency, because we know that gender equality cannot wait. And I'll now turn the mic over to my co-chair, Rosa Lazard.
Good morning, buenos dias, bonjour, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Rosa, and I'm happy to welcome you as well as a new co-chair, let's say, since July of NGO CSW New York. We have a great program for you. We will be reviewing the agenda in the next slide, but let me just say that it is every and all information about the NGO Forum and the UN Commission on the Status of Women, CSW, that you will need to know and may not even want to know, but we're going to deliver it for you. I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you. We hope that this is a very active session. If you have questions, please put them in the chat and we will try to get to them. We have a great team that has been working on this. I want to thank Emily Van Vleck, who is from our executive committee, as well as Lily Nkuzimana, who is a part of our executive committee, and our interns and our office coordinator, Mads Manohar and Jamie O'Malley, who you will meet later on in this session. Thank you to that team. I'm going to hand over to Emily, who will be reviewing the agenda. And thank you once again. Please, if you have any questions, comments, put them in the chat and we'll try to get to them. Thank you so much. Emily, over to you.
Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Pamela. Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever in the world you're joining us from, and welcome to the NGO CSW Open Forum as we begin our preparations for the 70th session on the Commission of the Status of Women. As our co-chairs mentioned, today's forum is designed to educate and prepare civil society for CSW 70, whether you're a first-time advocate or you're returning. 2025 has been a big year. We're coming directly off of Beijing Plus 30 commemoration, which gave us the opportunity to reflect on 3 decades of progress since the Beijing Platform for Action. While that framework remains the cornerstone of our work, the global context has shifted significantly with persistent challenges in economic security, gender-based violence, and access to justice for women and girls worldwide. Within the UN system, we're also entering a time of major transition. The CSW revitalization process is underway, examining how the Commission can be more inclusive, responsive, and effective. And soon the United Nations will host elections for a new Secretary General, bringing additional shifts in leadership, priorities, and opportunities for engagement. With that said, we hope that today helps you feel informed, connected, and ready to take part in the upcoming session with a clear understanding of where and how you can contribute. Thank you again for being here, and welcome to our NGO CSW Open Forum. As you can see on the agenda, we've just heard from our co-chairs. Next up, we will have updates from UN Women. We will provide an overview of the Commission on the Status of Women and an overview of the NGO CSW Forum and reasons to attend. We'll also discuss the differences between CSW and the NGO CSW Forum. We will hear from our partners at WOVA and go over utilization of the NGO CSW Forum virtual portal, and then hear from our team on the advocacy and research group. We'll hear a bit about the Young Leaders and Young Professionals program, some practical information on visiting New York and CSW, and then at the end, we will open it up for question and answers from the audience. So thank you again for joining us, and Jamie, if you will move us to the next slide, please.
Yeah, so we're just gonna start off with a quick poll, just kind of get a feel of who's in the room and what your relationship to the forum has been before. So our first question is, how many times have you attended CSW and or the NGO CSW Forum? And we're gonna have a poll come up so you guys can all answer. That should be up. Let's see. Right, so we have a pretty big range of people. Some people's first time, some people have been more than 10 times. So that's an exciting, lots of different experience in the forum. And then we have a second question, which is, how do you engage with gender equality work? On what level? So that's going to pop up in just a sec. Okay, so also have people on different levels. We have 58% saying globally, 4% regional, 20% national, 16% local, and 2% within other. So we've got a lot of people working in different levels here.
Thank you, Jamie. Really exciting to see where everyone's coming from and where everyone stands. At this point in our program, we're going to pass it over to our representative from UN Women today, Johannes Lang. Thank you so much for joining us. Johannes is a program specialist for the Civil Society Division at UN Women. Without further ado, I'll pass it over to you, Johannes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emily, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Thanks to my colleagues here at NGO CSW for this invitation to join this important open forum today. And I'm very happy to be here with all of you and to provide updates from UN Women on the preparations for CSW70, and also a little bit of context or introduction to the Commission and to the CSW revitalization process that has been mentioned already. And for some of you who have been to CSW many times already, some of this will be, of course, well known, but I hope that also those who are planning to come to CSW for the first time will get an overview and information that will be useful for the months ahead into the new year and then into March 2026 when the session will take place. So CSW, the Commission on the Status of Women, is a functional commission of the Economic and Social Council, also known as ECOSOC. And it is really one of the largest annual meetings held at UNHQ in New York. It really is instrumental in promoting women's rights, women's and girls' rights, documenting the reality of their lives throughout the world and shaping global standards on gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. Maybe just as an illustration of the size and scope of CSW, for those who haven't had a chance to be here during a session, I would like to share the numbers from the previous CSW session that was earlier this year. And here we had more than 4,600 delegates from member states, intergovernmental organizations, and UN agencies. We had more than 5,800 civil society representatives from ECOSOC accredited organizations that attended the formal session, and many, many more civil society representatives that joined side events and joined parallel events, and of course participated in the very large NGO CSW forum that colleagues here from NGO CSW are coordinating. We had about 280 official side events that took place on UN premises, organized by member states, intergovernmental organizations, and UN entities, often in collaboration with civil society. And then, of course, I'm sure you will be hearing about the large number of parallel events, a very vibrant space of the NGO CSW Forum. There were more than 750 parallel events as part of the NGO CSW Forum, coordinated by NGO CSW New York, and I'm sure you will hear all about this very important, very lively space that takes place alongside the official meetings during the session. UN Women, also to understand, is the substantive secretariat for CSW. That means we support the CSW Bureau, which is comprised of elected member states, delegates from all regions, and which plays a crucial role in facilitating the preparations and the outcomes of the Commission. UN Women facilitates the participation of civil society in the Commission, in the formal meetings, and we support the registration, for example, of representatives from NGOs in consultative status with ECOSOC for the official meetings of the CSW sessions. And we work closely with our colleagues and friends here at NGO CSW to provide information sessions and to basically engage all around the official meetings as well. Just to have a quick update on the registration for NGOs in ECOSOC consultative status. So registration for CSW for the official meetings opened on the 3rd of October, and it will be open until the 23rd of January 2026. That means we are now in week 5 of the CSW70 registrations, and we have so far received more than 1,800 registrations from individuals, from representatives, from a total of 600 organizations. And we look forward to receiving many more registrations as we approach the session. We would just ask all representatives to please register and have your organization approve your registration prior to the deadline of 23rd January 2026. We also have received more than 200 submissions for written statements, and we look forward to NGOs also expressing their interest in giving a statement, an oral statement during the general discussion of the session, or giving an intervention at one of the interactive dialogues of the session. The expression of interest for NGOs to express the interest to speak opens usually in late January. And I will be pasting the important links into the chat in a little bit, so you can go to the website and look up deadlines and find the different registration forms and more information about CSW and how NGOs can participate in the official session. Other milestones going ahead include, of course, the regional CSW preparatory meetings that will take place in the lead up to the session. So in Africa, it will be at the end of November, Latin America and the Caribbean, beginning of December, Asia Pacific in January. And for Arab states, we're still waiting for the dates to be announced. So these are organized by the regional commissions. In the regions, together with regional UN Women offices. And in time, you will also find more information on the CSW website about these regional preparatory meetings. And another milestone will be the organization of work, which is the program and the themes of the interactive dialogues that will be happening during the CSW session. And this organization of work will be published most likely in mid-December on the CSW website. And the SG's report on the priority theme of the session is expected to be published towards the end of January 2026. In any case, 6 weeks prior to the session, all the official documents will be available on the CSW website. And just maybe to quickly also highlight that the CSW70 will be the first session in light of the CSW revitalization. And yes, I will post information in the chat in a little bit. So the revitalization of the Commission on the Status of Women is a member state-led process that is aiming to strengthen the Commission and to ensure that it is fit for purpose in advancing gender equality and the rights and empowerment of all women and girls. So the Pact for the Future, as you may remember, adopted in September 2024, requested ECOSOC through an inclusive intergovernmental process with the participation of all member states to explore options to revitalize CSW. And then after negotiations throughout the year, ECOSOC adopted Resolution 2026/2 on 19th September this year. And this ECOSOC resolution defines the revitalization of the Commission on the Status of Women. And of course, this resolution is online, and I would invite everyone who hasn't seen it yet to really go through it. Just wanted to summarize a few of the key achievements of the CSW revitalization, and maybe just to highlight like 4 main points. So the CSW revitalization will look at strengthened accountability through state-led interactive dialogue, strengthening the evaluation of progress on the implementation of the previous agreed conclusions, which is the CSW outcome document and the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. So there will be a dedicated interactive dialogue that looks at progress. There will be options explored to have the working group on communications, which is a sub-process within CSW looking at women's rights violations, to have this working process more efficient. More inclusivity is also one of the main points of the CSW revitalization resolution. And the resolution is aiming to achieve this through the introduction of a new process, which is an informal interactive multi-stakeholder hearing ahead of each session. And we will see this the first time for CSW70. There will be a informal meeting of stakeholders, including civil society, of course, ahead of the session. The timeline is still to be defined and will be published probably quite soon. And this meeting will then be a chance for multiple stakeholders to already interact on the priority theme before the session, before the official session even starts. More inclusivity, we also hope, will be achieved through the rotation of the location of the 5 yearly review sessions of the Commission on the Status of Women. As you know, every 5 years, the Commission looks looks to review the progress on the implementation of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. And while negotiations will continue to take place in New York, the main conference to look at those reviews will be rotated globally. Further, in terms of inclusivity, the resolution talks explicitly about the involvement of national human rights institutions, of civil society and other relevant stakeholders in the preparation, during the session, but also in the follow-up and implementation processes that follow once the agreed conclusions, the outcome document of the session basically has been adopted and agreed upon. The CSW revitalization will also look at increased relevance through a new high-level interactive dialogue on cross-cutting issues, including a high-level meeting on critical areas such as violence against women and girls, poverty and women's economic empowerment, and women's participation in decision-making processes. Also, there will be a ministerial roundtable dedicated to an emerging issue decided by the Bureau every year to make this the Commission more responsive and very agile to look at emerging and pressing issues. More synergies will be hoped to be achieved through the strengthened coordination between the Commission and other relevant intergovernmental processes and functional commissions. As you know, CSW is only one of 9 functional ECOSOC commissions. There are others like Commission on Social Development. There will be enhanced coherence and complementary within UN human rights mechanism and the UN development system. Also, the resolution looks at facilitating UN system-wide support to member states in the preparations, dissemination, and use of outcome documents. So it's not only UN Women who will be working on this. All our sister agencies will be contributing their expertise in the CSW processes. And also the regional preparatory meetings coordinated between the regional commissions and UN Women will be strengthened and the outcomes shared with the CSW Bureau. And this resolution on the CSW revitalization was adopted by consensus. And it really reaffirms the Commission's relevance and leadership in advancing gender equality, the rights, the empowerment of all women and girls globally. And it positions this agenda very well within the UN that is undergoing a drastic reform under the UN 80 initiative. So it really is very timely to secure that the gender equality, women's empowerment, the empowerment of women and girls will be a core piece in whatever will be coming in terms of the UN 80 initiative and the reform of the United Nations. I'm mindful of time and I will stop here and I will share relevant links in the chat for more information. Just to quickly also highlight, there's a general email address for any questions about participation in the official meetings of the CSW session. The email address is csw@unwomen.org, and I will also post it into the chat in a minute. Thanks so much again, and looking forward to seeing many of you during the session in New York.
Thank you so much, Johannes. And we hope that you're able to stay around toward the end so we can have you for question and answer as well, have you available. Next up, we're going to pass it over to Radhika. Please, Radhika.
Hello, my name is Radhika. I'm currently an intern at the Baha'i International Community. And before I begin on an overview of CSW and its history, we have one more poll for you guys. So this one is on how familiar you guys are with the CSW revitalization process and any information that you've heard so far. So that should pop up in just a second. All right, that looks like a pretty even split. So it's good to know that a lot of people are familiar with like what it actually entails and like any information that has been out so far, but I'm hoping to give you a little more of an overview on CSW, what it entails, its history, and its background, including a little more information about why the current revitalization process is happening, so that I can hopefully provide you with the general knowledge that is important to know about the Commission. So as stated earlier, the Commission on the Status of Women is a functional commission on the UN Economic and Social Council. Its mandate is to prepare recommendations and reports on promoting women's rights in political, economic, civil, social, and educational fields, and to make recommendations on urgent problems requiring immediate attention in the field of women's rights. The CSW has 45 member states that are elected by the Economic and Social Council for 4-year terms. Member states, UN entities, and civil society organizations meet once a year for 2 weeks during March at the UN headquarters in New York. And during these 2 weeks, delegates review progress, identify challenges, and agree on conclusions and recommendations regarding the international gender equality agenda. And alongside official negotiations, civil society plays a role in organizing side events and sharing perspectives from the ground. Each year, they focus on a priority theme and a review theme, which assesses progress on a theme discussed in a previous session. This year's priority theme focuses on ensuring and strengthening access to justice for all women and girls, including by promoting inclusive and equitable legal systems, eliminating discriminatory laws, policies, and practices, and addressing structural barriers. This year's review theme is women's full and effective participation and decision-making in public life, as well as the elimination of violence for achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. So now to go over a brief history of CSW. The Subcommission on the Status of Women was founded in February of 1946 under the Commission on Human Rights. In June of 1946, the Subcommission officially became the Commission of the Status of Women. And during the first meeting, the Commission introduced new, more gender-inclusive language into the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And within its first decade, the Commission also helped the UN General Assembly pass the Convention on the Political Rights of Women in 1952. It worked with UNESCO to develop programs that advocate for increasing women's literacy and equality and access to education, as well as collaborated with the International Labor Organization, which led to the Convention on Equal Remuneration for Men and Women Workers for Work of Equal Value. In 1963, the General Assembly requested the Commission to draft a declaration on the elimination of discrimination against women. In 1967, it was adopted by the General Assembly. And though this was a landmark achievement in securing the legal foundation of women's equality, the impact on the ground was much more limited due to low-level responses from governments and voluntary reporting. The First World Conference on Women defined a world plan of action for the implementation of the objectives of the International Women's Year. One of the major mandates discussed during the First World Conference was the drafting of the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, also known as CEDAW, which was adopted in 1979. This was the first international instrument to define discrimination against women and brought together in a comprehensive and legally binding form internationally accepted principles on the rights of women. During the Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing, the Beijing Declaration and the Platform for Action was adopted. This declaration built on the political agreements reached at the 3 previous global conferences on women and consolidated 5 decades of legal advances aimed at securing the equality of women with men in law and in practice. In 2000, by recommendation of the CSW, the General Assembly decided to hold a 23rd special session to review the implementation of the Beijing Platform for Action. And now the Commission's work focuses primarily on the implementation of both the Platform for Action and the outcome of the 23rd special session. However, the challenge facing the Commission is further developing means to ensure accountability for implementation of the existing policy frameworks at the national level. This current challenge has flagged the CSW as having strong declarations but weaker accountability, follow-up, and connection from global outcomes to national change. Therefore, there has been a call for a revitalization of CSW. The current movement of revitalization for the Commission is based on the persistent and widening gender gaps that have been seen in recent years. As UNAID advances its own reform agenda, The resolution on revitalization places gender equality at its heart. The measures taken in the revitalization will help accelerate implementation, translate commitments into measurable results, and create space for member states to share best practices and lessons learned in order to make the Commission more attuned to achieving its goals. Additionally, for the first time, the Commission will include an annual high-level meeting across a set of critical priorities, beginning with violence against women and girls at CSW70. Now, this process is currently active. CSW69 included discussions of the revitalization, civil society inputs are being collected through surveys, and the draft multi-year program of work through 2029 document has been circulated. The role of civil society organizations in the revitalization of CSW and UN 80 is indispensable. We need to ensure that we continue to be a vital part of the agenda by ensuring that the voices, experiences, and priorities of women and girls from all regions and backgrounds are meaningfully represented in global policymaking. If the revitalization is implemented well, it can ensure that the CSW's global commitments are more effectively turned into national policies. It will enhance the effectiveness, relevance, and impact of CSW at a time when gender equality is critical to achieving the 2030 agenda. Now, since its establishment in 1946, the CSW has played a pivotal role in advancing women's rights worldwide. Many countries have introduced or strengthened laws that criminalize domestic violence and provide protection to survivors. Momentum has built for the repeal of discriminatory policies in areas such as labor force participation, entrepreneurship, inheritance, and land tenure. And the number of women in judicial roles has steadily increased in both international and national courts. Now, as we move forward and incorporate the revitalization of the CSW, we can continue to examine, refine, and strengthen efforts toward achieving genuine and lasting gender equality. I hope this was able to provide you some general information on what CSW is, the important milestones that we have achieved so far, and how we can work together to move forward. Thank you. All right, back to you, Emily.
Thank you, Radhika. And I believe now we'll be passing it over to my co-chair here, Lily Nkuzimani, so she can discuss the difference between NGO CSW and CSW. Over to you, Lily.
Thank you so much, Emily. And I also just want to thank Radhika again for that comprehensive overview of the Commission, its history, and how it has evolved over time. So I think by now, maybe some individuals might have information about, okay, so what is the difference between the NGO CSW Forum that is organized by NGO CSW and the official UN CSW sessions that happen within the UN headquarters. So these two spaces are parallel and complementary to one another. The space that's organized by NGO CSW is a civil society space that takes place outside of the UN. So if anybody has any challenges with being able to have access to UN grounds, the civil society spaces are open to all individuals who are interested in attending these sessions outside of the UN grounds. The NGO CSW Forum is organized by NGO CSW New York, which is a small but mighty team that does a lot of work around the year to make the forum happen and to enable everybody to be able to make their contribution to this global conversation on gender equality. The NGO CSW Forum also has the possibility to allow people to attend in person or online through the virtual platform, which you will hear more about later on. And it also allows for recommendations to be made by civil society through various committees to funnel recommendations from civil society into the formal UN proceedings. So that's on the civil society side. The formal UN sessions are formally organized by the Commission and take place most of the time inside of UN HQ, coordinated by UN Women, as was beautifully explained by our colleague Johannes from UN Women. And inside the UN, you have official side events that are organized by the UN, member states, and sometimes alongside civil society as well inside the UN itself. Within the official civil society, it's also where we have the outcome document that's negotiated by member states. This takes shape typically during the second week of of the Commission, where you're able to follow the negotiations through contacts you might have with member states. And the outcome document comes out at the end of the second week. And the official UN sessions are only accessible to those who have ECOSOC status, so that you can get a grounds pass to get into the UN. So hopefully having these two bubbles side by side can help us all understand the difference between the NGO CSW Forum that's organized by NGO CSW and the official UN sessions that take place inside the UN. So that's it for me. Back to you, Emily.
Thanks, Lily. And now Jamie's got a pop quiz for you to see if you've been paying attention. Jamie, if you would pull those up, please.
Yeah. So we're just going to check in about some of the things that Lily just discussed. So our first question, or our first statement, is CSW side events are organized by member states and UN agencies, sometimes in collaboration with ECOSOC accredited civil society organizations, and primarily held on UN premises. So this is going to pop up in just a sec, and you should be able to see it now. So as many of you correctly answered, this is true, and a great litmus test for those who answered false. Now we know, so it's all good. And we have one more. In that same vein, our next question, our statement is parallel events tend to be organized by civil society organizations and held outside UN premises. So this one's popped up, and you should be able to see it now. So, as you can see, we have a group of amazing listeners, and this is also true, as many of you got correct. So it seems like we're listening, which is great. And we're going to move right on.
Excellent. Thank you, Jamie. At this time, we're going to turn it back over to our amazing co-chairs of NGO CSW so that they can discuss the NGO CSW Forum. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We are seeing the priority theme for the official Commission on the Status of Women. And I think also Johannes put the link in the chat. We are going to be focusing on ensuring and strengthening access to justice for all women and girls, including by promoting inclusive and equitable legal systems, eliminating discriminatory laws, policies, and practices, and addressing structural barriers. So key word here is access to justice. And there's also a review theme that you can see here. Women's full and effective participation in decision-making in public life, as well as the elimination of violence for achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. So can you please mute yourselves? We're going to go on to the next slide. Thank you. Thank you for being such a great audience. This is a lot of information, and please know that we are going to have review sessions. So one of the review sessions is around these orientation sessions. So we will have trainings and orientation around the different aspects of the NGO Forum. So don't think that this is the last time you're going to get all of this information. A lot for us to digest, but let me just say, the orientation sessions will include a training for parallel event organizers. We're going to have a training in January for organizers. We are also going to have a training for those who buy handbook ads, and you'll hear more about that in a little bit. And we're also going to have trainings for participants. That's going to be our February monthly meeting, February 17th. And we will send more information. If you are not on our mailing list, that 34% who's coming here for the first time, if you're not on our mailing list, please sign up, and you'll see it in the chat how to sign up to get our newsletter every month, twice a month, with updates. So consultation day. We are planning consultation day for March 8th. That is a Sunday. That is International Women's Day. So if you are planning to travel to come to New York, take this into account. Do you want to be traveling on International Women's Day? You may want to come a day or two ahead of time to be able to be here for our consultation day on March 8th. We are right now trying to plan an in-person consultation day. However, venues are hard to come by, so we will update you. If anything, it will be virtual as it has been in the past. So we wanted to let you know about that. We are planning an NGO CSW networking reception. Currently, we're looking at a couple of dates, probably during the week of the first week, that Wednesday evening. We will be providing more information about the date in the near future. We also have NGO briefings during the 2 weeks of the Commission on the Status of Women. These are experts such as Johannes, UN Women reps, and other UN agency reps who provide information about the negotiations, but also about other connecting processes to the CSW. The NGO briefings will be held the first week, Tuesday to Friday, every day at a set time. We will confirm the time. Usually it's the middle of the day, it's the lunchtime hour. And also from Monday, the second week, Monday through Thursday. So the first day we don't have one because it's the opening, and then the last day we don't because they're finalizing negotiations. And then the regional caucuses. These are caucuses that we organize as part of the NGO CSW Forum. We will have them in person, all the different regions in person meeting the first week. And we're currently hearing back from the NGO CSWs in the regions about what time they prefer. So we don't have set times, but we will get that to you. And the second week, they will be virtual. You heard from Johannes about when the regions are meeting for their official consultations, and we could put it again in the chat. But basically, Latin America and Caribbean is going to be early December, and Africa at the end of November, Asia Pacific in January, and we're waiting to hear from the Arab, the MENA region. So that's all I have. Let me turn over to my co-chair, Pamela, for the next set of updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosa. And for everyone who is overwhelmed by all of this information, please rest assured that the recording will be on our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to go back and listen and refresh. I'm taking notes myself, so I suggest that everyone take notes so that you can refer back to and put your questions down in your notes. I'm looking at conversation circles. They are a place to raise issues and exchange ideas on different topics in a semi-structured space during CSW 70. And for those of you who have attended in the past, you know that they are one of our most popular activities during CSW. So each conversation will focus on an element, and I'm going to ask everyone to please mute yourselves. But each conversation will focus on an element of the priority theme and guided by multiple co-facilitators who are well-versed on the topic. The 4 conversation circles for CSW 70 will be ensuring and strengthening access to justice for all women and girls, promoting inclusive and equitable legal systems, eliminating discriminatory laws, policies, and practices, and addressing structural barriers. So moving on to exhibit booths, they are also a very popular offering during the forum, and they are hosted on the WUVA platform, and they allow organizations, campaigns, and companies even to promote themselves at the NGO CSW Forum. They will be a unique page on the virtual platform that the organizer can populate with the information that they want to share. Next, we have the healing and community space. And for those of you who participated for CSW 69, you know that it was a most welcoming, calming environment where we had singing bowls and Reiki, massage, even coloring books and crayons that people were able to access at no charge. It was a free offering from NGO CSW because we know that the events are heavy and sometimes people bring trauma with them. And we want this healing and community space to be a place where we can come as a respite from the activities and the information from the forum. And then we have our artisan fair, which is an annual event where organizers from around the globe bring wares to sell, the profits for which will go back to women's organizations. And that's one of the areas that we focus on in the applications. We want the artisan fair to aid the women who are in the communities. We hope that the fair will garner a very large response because I know personally, I love the artisan fair. I'd love to go and purchase items from different cultures. It's the next best thing for being able to travel. We hope that the artisan fair, in fact, we know that the artisan fair is going to take place on Wednesday, the 11th of March from 1:30 to 5. The applications for which will be out the first week of December. It's going to be a short window because we will notify the applicants by the first week in January as to whether or not they have been accepted so that they will be able to gather their wares. They'll have time to gather their wares and get them to New York. And then our favorite is the parallel events. As you know, the parallel events run parallel to the side events, and they are information sessions. And we hope to see a variety of parallel events this year. We know that panels are very, very popular, but we hope to move beyond panels and to bring other modalities into parallel events. So for those of you who are making your applications, please be creative in what you submit as your parallel event. It doesn't have to be a panel, although we know panels are very, very popular. We have parallel events really do provide a space and a voice for civil society organizations who may not have access and a voice at the UN. So we have ECOSOC accredited organizations who are able to host parallel events, but additionally, we have non-ECOSOC accredited organizations. For the parallel event application, you are required to have at least 2 sponsors. So two organizations have to co-sponsor the parallel event application, and every major sponsor, every primary sponsor can only have 1 parallel event. So it's 1 parallel event per the primary sponsor. Next slide, please. So on November 10th, the application opened for NGO CSW members only. And it's on a first come, first served basis. Someone wrote in the chat that I think the 8th floor has been already reserved. And that is what happens with first come, first serve. That's why it's important for you to make sure that if you are a member organization, that you have your application submitted by tonight, because tomorrow it opens for everyone, tomorrow the 13th. And the applications will be accepted for in-person until December 5th, or until the maximum amount of applications are received. So we can't say that we're going to have inventory of rooms until December 5th. And once our inventory is exhausted, at that time, we will close applications. For virtual, the applications will be open until the end of February, because we don't have an issue with inventory. And please, if you have questions, put your questions in the chat and we will respond.
Thank you so much to our co-chairs at this time. We've heard a lot about HOVA, which is our platform for the online virtual hybrid events. At this time, we're going to hear from John Santiago, the representative from HOVA. So over to you, John. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, John. Apologies. I think Mads wanted to say something really quickly about events before we go over to you, John. Apologies for that. Is that okay?
Of course. Please.
Yeah, that would be great. I just want to clarify a few things about parallel events. The application for the general public is going out tomorrow around noon. And additionally, for the co-sponsors, if you have an organization and you are applying to an event, you only need 1 other co-sponsors. So you need 1 other co-sponsor, and then if you have an additional co-sponsor, you can input their information, but there is only 1 required. So I just wanted to clarify that. If you have any questions, please email info@ngocsw.org. info@ngocsw.org. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mads. Over to you, John.
Thank you, Mads. Thank you, Emily. And hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from San Diego. My name is John, and I'm the HOVA rep who has been working closely with the folks at NGO CSW New York, and I will be your go-to guy regarding anything HOVA related. For background about HOVA, we are an event management platform and app that has assisted with over 50,000 in-person, virtual, and hybrid events. Hopefully some of you have had some experience with us from last year's forum, but if not, that's completely okay. We'll be running through some trainings together. Today, we'll be going through a quick overview of what you could expect with using HOVA as your event app companion for the NGO CSW70 Forum. HOVA is an all-in-one hub where you'll be able to access all event-related information, right? So the full agenda, speaker/parallel organizer bios, the floor map, and live updates regarding everything. If networking is one of your main priorities for attendance, HOVA makes this extremely easy for you through in-app messaging, exchanging contact information, meetups, and a discussion board. And you'll also be able to interact and engage with parallel events through live polls, live streams, Q&A, session information, document acquisition, all while building your own schedule. Next slide, please. Oh, let me turn up my volume. Apologies, everybody. And I'll try to speak up too. Sorry about that. All right. Hopefully it's a lot better now. I put myself at 100. But right here on this slide, you can see a quick preview from last year's forum and what you could expect for the mobile app hand side. You will find buttons full of information, the full program of parallel events, sponsors and exhibitors. There's also going to be the full attendee list for you guys to be able to connect with each other, right? On the bottom hand side of those two screenshots on the left, you can see the navigation bar where you'll be able to view and export all the contents for the forum, the homepage with all the buttons, the full program agenda, the attendees, and that discussion board, which, as you guys can see, there was a bunch of engagement from last year's forum. And I hope to expect a lot of engagement, participation, and all of those sorts from for 2026's one as well. Next slide, please. And on the other hand, if you want to engage with the forum through your desktop, laptop, or if you're planning on attending remotely, this is the layout you could expect to use, right? So on the left-hand side, we have a navigation bar where you can access all event information from the homepage, agenda, attendees, the community board, as well as our beloved sponsors and exhibitors. And on the right side, you guys can see a live activity feed. So you're kept up to date for all the things that are happening. So you don't like skip or miss a beat about anything that's happening. But for the next slide, for all the parallel event sessions, right? Like activities that are planning on having a live stream for folks who may be attending remotely or, plan to go like in a room and want to attend by their lonesome, perhaps, you can find the live streams embedded within each session, right? And on the right-hand side, for all the engagement and participation tools that you would probably expect to only be able to do in person, you will be able to do here virtually as well. Asking a question, answering a poll, chatting with all the other folks that are also attending, and last but not least, the community board to be kept up to date. Also, you can see here in the middle, you'd be able to take live notes. You can export these notes and send them to yourself afterwards if you'd like to. You can rate the session, all that cool and fun stuff will be able to be done through your event companion over here. For the next slide, I included a screenshot of the discussion board where you'll be able to add in topics, points of discussion, polls for other attendees to answer, and even ask the forum organizers questions directly if you guys want to. This is one of the most fun parts, in my personal opinion, in regards to using Whova as your event app companion. So once it is live for everyone to access, feel free to, start some discussions, start some, all the fun stuff pretty much. And lastly will be the full attendee list to fill all your networking needs. On the next slide, you'll be able to message folks directly on Whova, filter attendees by your interests, by your backgrounds, perhaps by your location. You can plan one-to-one meetups with any other folks. And this looks essentially the same on the mobile app hand side as well. For today's overview, I've pretty much just included a brief snippet and summary of everything that you could expect to use, but Whova will have all of the tools that you guys will need in terms of engagement, networking, inquiries, and all those fun stuff. So I hope you guys utilize us well for next year. And again, please be on the lookout for future trainings in regards to how to best utilize the Whova platform. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, John, for providing that overview. Once again, I hope you're able to stay till the end to maybe answer some questions if anyone has clarifications.
Of course.
And as the co-chairs mentioned at the beginning, we will have more of these events. So if there's stuff that you're missing, please fear not. We will have more information available as we get closer. Thanks again, John. I'm going to pass it over now to one of our advocacy and research group co-chairs, Ivy Coax, so she can briefly discuss the ARG group. Over to you, Ivy.
Thank you so much, Emily. And Marlene McLean and I are the co-chairs of the Advocacy and Research Group. And so this group consists of just a small core team, about 13, 14 of us, who represent various regions in the world. And in the past, many of you non-first timers know that ARG also tries to engage with the wider global constituency in our advocacy work. And so what we do first is the next slide. We develop an advocacy plan for the upcoming CSW. And we research the priority and review themes. Usually that starts in the summertime, and by fall and into, well, we've submitted a written statement based on priorities, and the NGO CSW New York key recommendations are put together by early December to distribute to all member states, with a focus, of course, on CSW Bureau and member states, members of the CSW. And so we usually try to distill just a few real key recommendations based on our research. And so usually those points are definitely under 10. Usually we aim for, we're hoping 5, 6 this year. The topic this year is quite broad. Just, access to justice can go in many directions. And so as a group so far, we've been really focusing on, the current needs of the times. And we know that, conflicts are rising everywhere, violence is rising. And so we want to make that the connection between justice and peace, and that you cannot have peace without justice and without human rights of all people, and also getting at like some of the root causes of this. And so one key piece will be around transitional justice. And of course, there's so many others, and we're still discussing, we're in the midst of really identifying what the core themes are. But so far, these are the things that have been coming up around economic justice, structural inequalities, social justice, political and cultural justice, engaging men and boys has come up, climate, governance, unpaid care. Like I said, there's so many to list, but I think that the highlight, the main piece is what I had shared already, the interlinkage of justice and peace. And what else was I gonna say about that? And also, the other piece was about UN 80, the UN 80 initiative, and Johannes had just talked about CSW revitalization. But, we know that there's this liquidity crisis happening at the United Nations. This will impact, all of us, right? And so making that connection also to the priority theme for CSW, we thought would be important as well. So we will include that somehow in one of our recommendations. So look out for that. That should be coming, like I said, by December for sure. We will have it on our website. And also I wanted to make a little note that usually, UN Women on their webpage on CSW70, they will post like the expert group meeting papers. They should start coming. They've already had a meeting, and so I think those papers should be up. I don't know if Johannes is still here, but when we should expect those. But it's those are documents to study, and the SG's report. So just wanted to mention that as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ivy, for the overview on our ARG group. I'm going to talk about another one of our groups that we have available through NGO CSW, which is our youth leaders and young professionals. We are very pleased to be reigniting the YLYP program after a 2-year hiatus. The Youth Leaders and Young Professionals program is a global community of young people passionate about gender equality. The program hosts opportunities to network, learn more about engaging with UN processes and opportunities to gain hands-on experience in advocating for gender equality. We had our very first meeting on Monday, and the recording should be available on our YouTube channel. Going forward, our future meetings will be held on the first Tuesday of the month. So we hope that you can join us. And on the next slide, we have a QR code that links to our page so you can learn more information about the YOIP. We invite you to share that information with any youths in your network. And at this time, we are going to hear from Pamela Morgan again. She can share some information, some practical information about visiting New York City.
Thank you, Emily. Excuse me. As you know, New York City is a busy, overwhelming city. So what we thought we'd do is just help first-timers get informed about some do's and don'ts. So getting around, cabs and ride shares like Uber are very convenient, and they're best for late night travel. You can use the extensive subway and bus systems, which are faster and cheaper than cabs and Uber. And it's funny, I never used the Manhattan transport system until I started working at the UN. I always drove into New York, and now I actually prefer it. The subway is the fastest way to get around the city. I think that the bus system is the most convenient. They have what they call an Omni card that you can use your credit card to access. And as a note for our seasoned veterans, senior citizens pay 50% fare. You can also, for our younger attendees, you can rent a bike, or you can use the city bike share program. How to dress is important because March is unpredictable. So we dress for cold weather. We suggest that you bring clothing that can be layered and walking shoes. I remember a number of years ago, an activist came to New York from an African country, and she got off the plane in the midst of a snowstorm, and she was wearing sandals and a cotton dress, and we had to scurry around to find shoes, boots, and a coat for her. So please pay attention to the weather. For finance, cards and cashless payments are the main payment method in New York at this time. However, cash is still widely accepted. If you're traveling from another country, we suggest that you get a credit card, and preferably one with no foreign transaction fees. New York is a city of food and drink, as we know, and there are a host of restaurants of different levels around the UN on 44th Street, 2nd Avenue, 3rd Avenue, and Lexington Avenue. The Grand Central Terminal, which is about an 8-minute walk from the UN, it has a food court with very good offerings. Courtesy tipping is customary in New York, and 15 to 20% is average. If you have a large party, the establishment may incorporate the gratuity into the bill, and it may be as large as 25%. The average cost of breakfast in New York City ranges from about $15 to $25 at a standard cafe. If you stop at one of the trendy places, such as one of the juice places, you can get oatmeal for about $6-7. A good estimate for an average casual lunch is about $25 to $30 per person. You can also get a slice of pizza for about $2-3, and a fast food meal may be about $15. They have a host of salad places, including I can't remember the name of it. It's a Sweet Green and places like that where you can get a hearty salad, probably enough for two people for about $20. So where to stay in New York? Hotels around the UN include the Millennium Hotel, which is directly across the street. And not to be mistaken with the Millennium Hilton Midtown. I remember last year someone made a reservation to stay at the Millennium because they thought it was across the street, but they actually made a reservation for the Millennium Hilton Midtown. So if you're going to stay at the Millennium, make sure that it's the Millennium Hilton New York UN Plaza. Also, the Westin New York Grand Central, the Westgate New York Grand Central, the Hampton Inn Manhattan Grand Central, the Churchill Olympia Hotel, the Even Hotel, the Fitzpatrick, and there are others. And I hope that there is a link in the chat with a list of hotels in New York. Additionally, some attendees have been able to successfully book Airbnbs, and some have also been able to access less expensive accommodations in New Jersey and then commute into New York. There are trains and buses into New York City through New Jersey. Unfortunately, NGO CSW New York is not able to assist with lodging, but the YMCA may also be a low-cost option for you. Thank you. Oh, one last thing. NGO CSW New York does not issue visa letters. And regretfully, we are not able to do that. If you are interested in the visa letter, your registration letter from Indico could be used. I don't think that UN Women is issuing visa letters as well. But if Johannes is still on, he can address that. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. I don't think we're quite done hearing from you yet. If you could go over the upcoming orientation sessions.
Thank you. The orientation session for general attendees is going to be at our February monthly meeting. It's going to be February 17th at 11 a.m. The exhibit booth and handbook ad organizers orientation session is going to be a session to train you on the back end, as well as give you information on how you might use your exhibit booth and handbook. That will be after the application process has finished, and generally that's by the end of January. And then for parallel event organizers, that orientation session with HUVA, as well as with our staff, will be held in early January so that organizers have the opportunity to set up their back end in advance. Now, one thing I want to point out about this training session, what we've done differently this year with our application process is we have a field for organizers to indicate the email address for the person who is going to set up the back end. It's really important for organizers to have a person who is familiar with technology identified so that they can set up the back end. Last year, we had over 1,000 emails in our inbox from organizers who did not understand how to set up the back end. And our plea to you is to please identify someone who understands technology, who is proficient with technology, who can take over the setting up of the back end to alleviate angst for you and for our office. All right. Thank you, Emily. Back over to you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. At this time, we do have just a few minutes left for our open question and answer. I know that our staff has been working, members of the team have been working furiously to answer the questions put in the chat. But at this time, I am going to pass it back over to Lily so that she can facilitate the question and answer. Lily, if you would, please.
Thank you so much, Emily. And I believe at this time we can also stop sharing the screen and we can spotlight everybody who presented, who's still with us, so that our attendees can view them. We will take questions. If you want to say your question out loud, please make sure to put yourself on video so we can see you. And you will be given the prompt to unmute yourself so you can share your question. You're also welcome to put a question in the chat, and my colleagues will help me to identify those questions so we can pass them over to the right individual. So I see there's a question here that hasn't been answered. Actually, I see a few that haven't been answered in the chat. So maybe I'll just read those out loud and see who can answer those. So there's a question here about exhibit booths. Is there a cost for an exhibit booth? And then there was a question here about, can you please provide information about the event application fees? And then the other question here is there anywhere to access previous year's parallel events? So I think these questions can be passed over to, we still have one of our co-chairs who's here with us, who I think can answer that question. And then while Pamela is answering those, if you have others, I encourage you to use the raise. Thank you, Lori. To use the raise hand function, and I'll pass the floor over to you after Pamela. So over to you.
Please repeat the question.
Sure. One was about accessing previous year's parallel events. Should I do all three, Pamela?
Yes.
So is it basically like an inventory, like an archive of previous events that people can take a look at? Is there information about event application fees and the cost of exhibit booths?
Okay, thank you. The organizers, the hosts, have recorded their own parallel events. We do not have an inventory or an archive. We have approximately 700 parallel events annually. So those organizers have archived them themselves probably, but we can't even guarantee that. If you know someone who has hosted a parallel event in the past, please contact them so that you can see what their parallel event looks like. And people use different modalities for them. So you may find 3 organizers who have recorded them, and you'll see 3 different ways of hosting. The second event, as far as the pricing, for large rooms, it is $525 plus a $25 processing fee. For a regular size room, the cost is $425 plus a $25 hosting fee. There has been a $25 increase, and it is because our costs have increased. So we kept it to a minimum of $25. Some organizations have increased their hosting fees by $50 or even $100. We have not done that because we know that times are very difficult financially. We have kept our fees to as minimum as possible, but there is a $25 increase for CSW 70. And the handbook ads, the handbook and the exhibit booths are going to be tiered as they have been in the past. And once we get those applications out, we will inform you of the pricing tiers. As of today, we are not 100% certain, so I don't want to speak prematurely.
Thank you so much, Pamela. I see two raised hands, so I'll pass over to the two individuals who want to ask their questions. Just noting that we have 7 minutes left. Apologies to everybody, but we'll try to answer your questions as much as we can. Please note that some of the questions have already been answered, so if we're not able to answer them, you can rewatch this to get your answers. So over to you, Lori.
Thank you, and thank you for this remarkable forum. It's been so well organized and easy to understand, so thank you. And I have a question, follow-up about the parallel events. Pamela, specifically, you were talking about being creative. Is there anything off the top of your head that you would like applicants to either avoid with creativity, or something that you're looking for that you hope is included this year? Thank you.
You're welcome, Laurie. It's good to see you. Something that I think that we need to be careful of is we cannot have food or drink in the rooms, and we cannot put anything on the walls. We cannot adhere anything to the walls. So we can't put nails, we can't put tape, we can't put 3M stickies. Nothing goes on the walls. But other than that, you have space. So we've seen the name of the organizer, I can't remember the name, but they had this wonderful activity for women's physical health, and it was movement. And it was wonderful, wonderful movement. We've seen conversation circles. We've seen all types of things that are outside of panel events that have been very successful. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question, but thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I know that there are also some people asking about accreditation and how that process works. I think some individuals here have gone through that process, so maybe perhaps you can network with those who are attending to share that information. But I think this is also information that if you quickly Google UN accreditation process, the results will pop. I see nodding heads, so I think that that will be fine.
Lily, I think that it's also important for us to note that that is not what NGO CSW's mandate involves. We have nothing to do with accreditation.
Thank you. Yes. The next question is Rachel. Rachel, would you like to come in?
Sure, thank you. So we've put this in the chat. I'm Rachel Ellian Baird from Servos International. We have youth with us at CSW that we would like to be able to attend the youth forum. And for the past several CSWs, we've tried different emails, phone numbers, leaving messages, and haven't been able to receive the information to register our youth in time and to have them attend the youth forum at CSW, and we would very much like that. So I'm hoping to receive the registration dates and information, and also the dates of the youth forum for CSW for CSW70. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. I don't know if Pamela, there's information we can provide regarding that.
The youth forum is part of the formal governmental CSW. And my only suggestion would be to email csw@unwomen.org.
We already have it several times.
Okay, and if Johannes was here, he would be able to give you a better response, but that's beyond our wheelhouse.
Okay, thank you. I was hoping he was still on the call. Thank you.
So I see that there's another question here about exhibition. Is there any possibility to have exhibition? I'm not quite sure. I don't know if that's about exhibition booths, but I believe that information has already been provided. The art exhibition. Is there additional information that we can provide, Pamela, about the art exhibition?
To have an art exhibition, someone would have to have easels, or they could have human easels. So if you have, and that's really an interesting concept. You could have artists actually holding their work and talking about it. So you would have almost like a human art exhibit. There are really creative ways that can be employed to do things. You just have to really think out the box. But because we can't have anything adhered to the walls. To have an art exhibition in a traditional manner would be difficult.
Wonderful. I don't know if any of my colleagues have seen other questions. I think we might have room for one more question in the 2 minutes that we have left. I see there's a question here that says, can you let us know the direct email to contact specifically for the youth forum? So the email that Johannes shared, any questions regarding the formal aspect of the commission can be, you can direct those questions there. And I believe one of my colleagues can put that UN Women email in the chat so you have it with you. All right. I don't know if I have missed any other questions. Mads, you want to come in?
Yeah, if I just may add, there's been a few questions about virtual parallel event applications. Those are expected to go out shortly. We're hoping by Friday this week. So just keep a heads up, keep eyes out for our newsletter and any notifications regarding parallel event applications. If you do have any additional questions, please email the info email and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add, Lily, thank you, Mads, that for virtual parallel events, we don't require co-sponsoring organizations. Individual organizations are able to host virtual parallel events. We only need the co-sponsors, the lead organization and one co-sponsor for in-person. So I don't think I was clear with that. But we need to only have 2 for in-person, 1 for virtual.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pamela. And oh, please, Ivy, over to you.
Just make one point, because I know there was a question about visa letter, visas and needing some kind of letter. And I understand, I mean, we all understand the challenge because NGO CSW doesn't offer visa letters. And the only way you would get an official letter from the UN is if you're an ECOSOC NGO and you're going through the formal portal, the Indigo portal, and then it gives you a confirmation. Now that you can use, for your application. However, I'm not sure if somebody in this group or, could advise people who are not ECOSOC accredited and how they would substantiate the why they would be coming, to New York. So I think this is a challenge for us because, yeah, we don't issue the letters ourselves for the parallel events, for example. So Pamela, do you have any suggestions on that? Wanted to just.
At this point, I don't, it's governmental. And as far as NGO CSW's ability to move beyond that, I don't know. Yeah, Ivy, you've been in this a long time.
I know
So.
this is a conundrum for us, because the honest truth is that there have been some incidences where people misuse the letter, come into the country and do not go home, and there's many implications on a lot of responsibility on the committee too if we were to issue such letters for everybody, and so that's why we can't get involved in that. However, you can find ways if you apply for the event. I don't know if you have screenshots of the forum that you're going to be attending this forum. But yeah, there will not be an official letter from us, from the committee. So,
and I'll share something. Last year, Ivy and I were contacted by the U.S. Embassy, and we were questioned about whether or not we issued visa letters. So we really do not have the ability to do so.
Thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to be with us, for your enthusiasm. The chat it was hard to keep up with the chat, all the comments and the questions. I want to thank my fabulous co-chair, Emily, for helping to put this together. And thank you so much for everybody for all your contributions. And this is, as was shared, this is one of many sessions where we'll be sharing information. We're with you as you prepare to make this CSW as informative and fruitful as possible. So if you would like, you're more than welcome to open your mic to say goodbye. And this recording will be available on our YouTube channel in case you want to revisit it for additional information. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a good rest of your day.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank
Ciao
you.
for now.
Great session.
Adios. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
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 Adios. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Bye.
coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Bye. Take
Adios.
care.
Thank you.
Bye.